You guys have played Synergy, Ramfest, some of the biggest shows.
Sabretooth are headlining Synergy.
Sabretooth are playing Ramfest.
What prompted the decision to be like, guys, let's just take a bit of a break from this?
Some heavy shit was going down. I think we were just down and out.
Spotify is now under pressure to deploy AI to accelerate its ad revenue, as it also watches the threat of AI to intellectual property concerns.
Are you going to be releasing on Spotify? What's your stance on this?
I don't know. It helps. It has potential to help you, and it has potential to ruin you at the same time.
How's it, ladies and gentlemen? It's Nasiphi, Zwane is my surname, and I'm back with another episode of Studying Around Podcast. Today I've got Sabretooth, a band that I'm super excited about. And when Gino approached me to do this interview, I'm going to be honest, like it was my first time hearing about Sabretooth. But once I dived sort of into the world and, did the research and just read the biography of SM Brew, I realized that I'm actually in the presence of royalty here in South Africa. And I'm extremely privileged to be here and to be doing this interview with you guys. Please just quickly introduce yourselves and, to the audience, obviously, and then you'll continue the chat from there.
Hey guys, I'm Murray. I'm singer for Sabretooth.
Yeah, and I'm Damien, the drummer.
One thing that stood out to me is the fact that you guys have played so many festivals and some of the biggest in the country, one of them being Ramfest. How did you guys actually get yourselves to a point where you're one of the biggest bands, in the country in terms of the shows that you guys were playing back then?
I guess we just kind of put in the work, man, did the grind. Charles, the guitarist, or one of the guitarists, one of the original founding members, he just wrote a whole bunch of music, and we decided that we were going to write music that we wanted to hear as opposed to just like kind of write stuff, And I think it just caught on with people. I also think at the time there was not many bands doing what we were doing. So it was quite unique in a sense, I guess. We made some great connections, playing shows with awesome bands, meeting awesome people. We did a small little tour to PE with another local band called Reverse the Sands, who's also not around anymore. And then after that, things just kind of picked up, man. I guess it involved a bit of luck as well, like being in the right place at the right time, having the right people see us play. Just putting in the hours, putting in the hard graft, rehearsing, making sure everything's nice and tight.
And I guess back then also we were just taking whatever gigs we could. It wasn't necessarily always lineups where we were playing with metal bands. It was from, a whole mixed bag of different bands, and we would just slot in as like the metal band, But I think back then it was there was so much going on back then. Not to say that there's not a lot going on now in terms of what the metal scene looks like, but I just remember back then there was always a different metal band playing, somewhere in Cape Town. And it was busy. And you had to play gigs to get noticed because, you were up against a lot of other great bands at the time, So, just play whatever gigs you can and just knock them dead, I guess.
Yeah, it feels like the scene was thriving a bit more back then. I mean, like Murray said, not to say that there's no scene today, but there were definitely more venues at the time in Cape Town. It's like maybe a handful these days, but there was a lot more. I mean, like one of the places we played quite often that was quite fun for us was Raw, upstairs at Gandalf's. And like Murray said, we played with a lot of bands that like weren't metal bands sometimes,
Do you guys think there's going to be also maybe just a shift in terms of maybe any of the new material that you guys might have coming up? Obviously, coming back from my hiatus, it's not only just shows that you're going to be jumping back into, but I then suppose you guys are going to be making new music as well. So can we pretty much be expecting from you guys, a similar sound, from like what we're familiar with? I do recall you guys citing that you dropped a little debut, I think it was in 2012. So would we sort of get, it was your album in 2012. So would we get a similar sound now, or do you guys feel like with all the influences and things that you guys have gone through during the hiatus, the sound might be a bit different?
It's a good question. I think we've been quietly working on some stuff that's been locked away in the Sabretooth vaults and just kind of resurfaced like some old ideas. And we've even started with, just maybe some pre-production on like 2 or 3 songs. That I feel has taken a back seat. And now we're just focusing on the live show and just getting everything tight. But 100%, there's new music on the horizon and we're super keen to get it out. It's just we want to get one thing out of the way first, and that's just a few shows, and then just take it from there. For us, it's just amazing that we're able to do this all again, but we have to take it all in stride as well, and just work out logistics. Is it going to be similar to what we brought out in 2012? Well, I don't know. We still like to go heavy, but there's a little bit more of a progressive Sabretooth, I feel, on the horizon.
I think it's going to be, sorry to interrupt, Mario, I think it's going to be a bit more of a mature sound, if that makes sense. The songs we're rehearsing now, like the majority of them are from the release that we did. But there's actually, after the release, we released another song called Ready to Rock, which we're playing. And then there was, right before we kind of called it quits in the beginning, called it quits for the first time, whatever, we had a song called Say You Won't Lie, which we never ever tracked, but we did play it, I think, at 1 or 2 shows. That's basically in our set again. So in a way, there is new music. There's at least like one kind of new song that we will be playing. But also that song was also written a long time ago. So the brand new stuff that Mari's talking about, yeah, I mean, I've heard some of it obviously, and it's definitely the same vibe. It's still Sabretooth, but I personally feel like it's more mature. Like as songwriters, we've all kind of been through a lot, and we're older, obviously.
Yeah.
So I think it's gonna be good.
I don't think it should be downplayed how, massive this comeback is, considering that, when people go, yeah, for real, because when people go on a hiatus or take a hiatus or whatever, it's like, as you were saying, you mentioned Damien there, bro, you mentioned your keyboardist, having taken a different path in their life and so on and so forth. Getting everyone together, because we're all now in different walks of life. You might find that my circumstances are different from what they were back then. So
Sure.
walk me through the initial process of like who called who first, who was like, yo, let's get, Sabretooth back together, let's do this, because I feel like it's a special moment that is very difficult to pull off.
I mean, like Mari said, we did try and get everyone back together, and at that time, I mean, I can't remember when that was. We actually
2016.
Was that when we had Nikolai still
2016.
on keys, and I think Dean, who was one of the original guitarists, or not the original guitarist, but one of the guitarists that's on the release. Yeah, he went to bass, which was kind of interesting, just because Ryan Zwane, the bassist, was living in the UK, so that was interesting kind of mix up of members, but that didn't pan out. Ryan came down to South Africa like he does every now and then. End of last year was it, Mari?
End of last year, yeah.
Yeah, 2024. And the 4 of us, so myself, Mari, Charles, and Ryan, we had a jam, and that was just so much fun.
We've always kept in touch, and we're
friends. We've
stayed mates,
Yeah.
And there'd always be like that ongoing conversation.
Oh, it'd be so cool to get the band back together.
And but it's never going to happen. And I think it was last year. We were just all sitting around and having a Brian going, guys, it's actually like ridiculous. Something has to like come back. It's like we had too much of a good thing for it to not come back into our lives, And I said this to my wife the other day. It was like, I prefer jamming with Sabretooth for like the foreseeable future, much better than having to spend the time doing anything else like that's on a creative level. This band was everything to me back then. So for it to be coming back, it's serious for me, and I want it to work. I want to be able to play more gigs, and I want to be able to have a good time. That's the main thing about what this band was all about, is having a good time and not take yourself too seriously. Like, it's all about the good vibes and just being part of a bigger community that needs to be a lot tighter and, making everybody like come up,
Yeah, I think like in the back of my mind and like in my heart, like I always kind of had the feeling that like one day we'd get back together and do this thing again that we had so much fun doing, and like being friends and with Charles and Mari, and like the 3 of us. Once Nikolai had kind of gone his own way, like we would still see each other, and obviously Ryan, the bassist that lives in the UK, like he's like one of my best friends. Like we keep in touch. It's a pity that he can't be part of this, but I mean, he lives in another country and he understands, we've spoken to him, he knows what's up. So like, I always had a feeling that, always like kind of like felt like that like we would do this again, I don't know, maybe, I don't know how you felt about that, Mary. Did you kind of always feel that way?
Yeah. You know what, though, I got to say that just to take that this question in a different route, it's like the two new members that are now part of the lineup now, I think bring their own fire, and
100%.
I think it's like the young blood that's been recruited, and I'm really looking forward to being able to share who they are. But at this point, I think we're being a little bit cryptic, and we're not posting as much as we probably should be on social media.
We've got plans
But,
to announce them, obviously soon.
Yeah.
No,
But yeah,
I feel like it does, having that sense of, like a bit of secrecy in there does sort of have more of an impact. I think when they come out, when you guys are playing and it's like, whoa, the impact is a lot bigger than you guys being like,
I mean,
hey guys, you got the
they're not
and
like
it's people that you know anyway, so it's
exactly.
not like they're new to the scene.
Exactly.
If you're into the scene, and you'll probably know who they are anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like, Damien, you wearing this cap, is it maybe a hint at something?
No. I'm just a big fan of Peasant, man. Like, I know all the Peasant guys. They're like, I've known Graham for ages. Like, I've known the Peasant guys for ages, and it's pretty sad at the moment because they haven't played a show in a while. But I have. Oh, I don't know if I should say this. maybe it's not my place to speak about another band. But I mean, and Audrey, the guitarist, I guess I think he's the main songwriter anyway. I think his merch is some of the coolest merch that I've seen. So like, at one point I had like four of their T-shirts. I gave one to a friend because I couldn't wait and it didn't fit me. But like, I mean, I made a conscious decision to wear this hat today because I was like, I miss these guys, man. But I'm sure we'll see them soon.
Yeah, hopefully. But like, look at it. I'm sort of wanting to look at, it says there that you guys, from 2009 to about 2013, you guys have played, as I mentioned at the beginning of the show, Synergy, Ramfest, some of the biggest shows. What prompted the decision to be like, guys, let's just take a bit of a break from this?
2013, I think in itself was quite a up and down year for us. At the time, there were a few of us that were seeking to play in other bands as a side project and whatnot, but I think we were just down and out, and also we were all at different points in our lives where just some heavy shit was going down.
It was difficult enough as it is to get the six of us into the same like rehearsal space. That was quite difficult at times. Nikolai was playing with the Rudimentals as well. I don't know if you've heard of the Rudimentals. So he was doing a lot of gigs with them as well. Zwane was always talking about towards the end of like relocating to the UK, so that obviously played a big part as well. Charles, who had written most of the material for the release, I think he kind of like was moving into more of like a collaborative like writing process, and we tried that a couple of times, and it was kind of a bit of a mishmash. I always just thought like, okay, Charles is going to be this endless well of ideas. He's always going to have riffs to bring to us, and it's not that he's not that. He just like, I'm in another band with Charles called Atlantic South, and we get together like 2 or 3 of us at a time, and just getting together and writing is fun. And like, I mean, I think that's the plan for Sabretooth moving forward, man. So I'm looking forward to that as well.
Obviously, looking at the upcoming show, Nostalgia Indulgia, shout out to Dino for putting that one together and obviously organizing this interview. So on the lineup, we got Mind Assault. We're also going to be chatting with we got We Cool Cowboys. It's a very stacked sort of lineup with quite a lot of bands in there. Someone may not have mentioned, but yeah, it looks really, really cool. So what made you guys decide that this is the show that you guys want to jump on?
Fuck, man, we wanted to play. We want to play with Mind Assault any day of the week. Because we'd play with them on lineups back in the day too, right? So
Patrick Davidson, what else can you say? He's like he's the guy. Freaking Winterfest, Metal for Africa. Like Patrick's been like the stalwart in the scene since he probably was born. Probably came out the womb freaking throwing metal horns, you know.
Patrick's
Yeah.
a fucking sweetheart. I love that dude. He's awesome. He's a legend, and I can't say enough good things about the guy. Yeah, he's legend.
I guess like wait, what was the question again? Why we decided? I mean, I think it was just good to like to give us like a deadline. You know what I mean? Like say, cool, like we can rehearse our butts off and get things tight, but like let's just put a freaking stamp on it and say this is going to be our first show in 12 years. Let's just freaking do it, you know?
And obviously, for anyone that's tuning into this, it's going to be on the 13th of September at the Armchair Theatre. So what's the Armchair like? I always see some of the biggest shows are always played there. I've never even been to Cape Town. What are the vibes
to
there?
be like in terms of Cape Town, it seems to be like it's one of the venues that's been around for ages.
It's an institution.
Yeah, I don't know how many different owners it's gone through, but the current owners, they're rad dudes, and yeah, I mean they're putting on some cool shows, man. I've played there many times. I mean, recently, you know, with Atlantic South or whatever other bands. Yeah, it's a cool venue. It's not like a massive venue. It's also not like a really small venue. It's kind of like a nice, kind of like intimate, but also not too intimate. There's enough space for freaking mosh pits and stage diving if you want. You know, like it's cool. Yeah, it's a rad venue.
It's got a lot of history, man. It's I not to like give my age away too much, but I remember playing there like 2000 or 2001. And yeah, it was a very different setup, but the you know, it just hasn't changed much. Yeah, cool venue. Definitely.
I mean, I think the stage, Mari, is the stage still where it was back then?
No,
Yeah?
it's very different. Back then,
really?
It was like it was always set up for a much smaller, more intimate crowd, if I remember correctly. And they always had like, they would have like couches and like big like armchairs and like scattered all over in front of where the audience would be. So you would actually like chill out with a dope and watch a band, which is kind of weird, but it wouldn't work for everybody type of thing. It's a cool venue now. I'm excited to play there. Damien's played there a bunch of times. It's a cool place. Very cool.
Of the bands that have sort of come in while you guys were away, which would you say, you know, are some of your favorites, or which would you say, hey, guys watching this, you know, look out for these bands?
Shout out Peasant, man. Like, absolutely. They're like one of my favorite local bands. One of my favorite bands that I've seen in the past year or so was Oh God. They're an instrumental like metal band, I guess. I saw them at I think one of the Middle of Africa events, and they were freaking amazing.
We Kill Cowboys are killing it right now. Like always seeing like posting that they're playing shows here and there, and I think it's awesome. I think their music's great. I've been listening to it on Spotify. Alex is amazing front woman. Awesome band. If you haven't seen them live yet, they're fantastic.
Yeah, these are brilliant bands that you guys are mentioning there. And I was actually about to ask you guys about, you know, some of the other plans that you guys have the remainder of the year. But before we touch on that, Mari, there's something you brought up there, man, briefly. You mentioned Spotify, and it just immediately, there were just triggers in my mind because I've been seeing one or two musicians in the scene, one of them being Paul, and he was mentioning, he recently put a video out on Instagram, and he was just like, yeah, he's making an announcement, the band is pulling all their music off of, you know, Spotify. And then I saw another artist as well. I just forgot who it was on Facebook or something, and they were also mentioning, yeah, no, as a South African artist, I'm not in line with what's happening with Spotify, and Brandy, they're funding like these bots and everything like that. What's your guys' view as a band that is coming back and is obviously going to be releasing music? Are you going to be releasing on Spotify? What's your stance on this?
I mean, we never
I wish Charles was here to answer this question, because here's the thing: like we're not on Spotify, so we've got music, but we're not on Spotify, and we elected to not be on Spotify for various reasons, but. I think Charles will definitely be able to give you more of an understanding on what he thinks about Spotify. It's like the good and evil, you know. Where do you draw the line? If you're not gigging and you're not, and you know, if you're a serious band, if you're not touring and you're not gigging and getting your name out there, and you know, it's never going to work for you. But I don't know. Shit, it's such a difficult.
Because it's also an accessibility. It's an accessibility thing as well. Because it's like if this is the most almost accessible sort of platform,
that's
you know, you're getting discoverability, but also it's like morally, this is what you're supporting also. So it's tricky.
Yeah, but I
It's a,
guess it's a valid point. But at the same time, you can apply the blueprint for Spotify to almost anything in fucking life where somebody's making money out of something. It's just we were heading into a very, very different generation of how music gets out there, and some people like the fact that they don't need to sell CDs and cassette tapes and shit like people used to do it back in the day, right?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I mean,
It
I feel
helps.
like
It has potential to help you, and it has potential to ruin you at the same time.
I personally like the fact that what I'm seeing with a lot of bands these days, and I saw it here with Peasant, is that they were actually kind of like they're releasing their stuff on LPs. They were doing records again. It might still be a bit niche,
Tasers as
might
well are
not
doing
be.
that.
Yeah, exactly. So that's the thing. Like, I think that's cool. It's bringing back nostalgia. It's teaching the younger generation, like kind of showing them what we had. I mean, I'm not that old, but like I did have records when I was a little kid, but I mean, gone are the days of cassette tapes. Although I think I saw a band the other day that actually also released their stuff on a cassette. I don't know where. I guess can you still get
Nice.
cassette tape players?
I,
Maybe like
I don't know. I'm pretty
Probably
sure you could, but
super niche, probably.
maybe like at
Yeah,
the back of like Cash
you're probably
Crusaders, like
getting.
hiding in the corner or something.
But
Yeah,
so here's an interesting thing, right? So how many people
Yeah.
that go to like their local support their local favorite band at a venue are prepared to buy an LP or a CD nowadays? I mean, is that
or merch
even
even, or
happening anymore?
yeah,
Well, merch is, I mean, you're a perfect example. You're a sucker for buying merch, and you just happen to like peasant stuff. That's cool, right?
yeah,
But
yeah, yeah.
how many people nowadays are going out and, oh, shit, that band just bought on an LP or like like a vinyl. This is a collector like thing, and I bought it because I love the artwork, and um, is that still a thing out there? Do people still get a kick out of having that? The band's artwork
I
and the
think you'd be
lyrics
surprised.
and yeah.
Yeah. I think you'd be surprised. I mean, Damien, he obviously loves his merch, but I love my merch as well. And it's like one of those things where it's like, if you're at a show, people are out there drinking, they're more inclined to be like, yo, let me spend a
Yeah.
few bucks or a couple of hundred on, some merch. It's something that you hold on to. Like, I literally still have some CDs, like, I think must have been like 2010 or something, when the Medicine Dolls, they went under a different name back then. But when they came down to Durban, they literally signed like a couple of their CDs and they gave them to me. I still have that stuff. And it's just like, you don't get that with online. So I get like what Damien is saying when he's saying, I feel like there could still be a demand for that sort of stuff because no one can take it from you.
Exactly.
I hope there is,
It's like
man.
it's like owning a piece of
Yeah.
the band in a way, And other than supporting a
Yeah.
band by coming to the shows and paying the entry fee or whatever, if you really enjoy a band, like go that extra mile and just, get a t-shirt,
Yes.
get a cap. If there's CDs or what records, whatever, like if you want to support the band a little bit further than just paying the entry fee, like I think that's really cool. I mean, I clearly do that, for the bands I like. I think it's a awesome thing to do if you're really into a band, just go a little extra mile.
Yeah. What else can we expect from you guys? We've got the show that is coming up soon. And we obviously, what else do you guys have planned for the rest of 2025 and beyond?
I think we're focusing on just getting this first show out of the way. I'm sure Mario will agree. Like we kind of like, because we haven't played in 12 years, we know there's people that that used to come watch the band, but it's going to be interesting to see on the night how many people actually come to watch us, like people that maybe have just kind of like maybe not even like been involved in the scene, like I remember lots of names and
Yeah.
faces of people that used to come to watch us that I haven't seen in a while. So it'll be interesting to see what kind of reception we get. Obviously, there'll be people there for Wind Assault and We Call Cowboys, which will be nice if they've never seen us before. Like kind of getting a bit of a new audience. But it's going to be interesting to see what kind of turnout there is on the day. And I think we're just mainly focusing on putting on an awesome comeback show. There's not too much thought into stuff like merch and that kind of thing yet. But I mean, it's definitely options. I mean, yeah.
Sweet. No, that's brilliant, guys. Where can people get in touch with you guys online if they want to hit you up for any maybe work or bookings and all that there?
The easiest way to do it is just get us on our socials. We're on Instagram and Facebook.